Hello, my LGBT cuties, and welcome back to another episode of A Jaded Gay. I'm Rob Loveless, and today we're talking about queer comedy, why humor has always been deeply connected to LGBTQ+ culture, and how comedy can become a powerful form of activism and resistance. Comedian, writer, and filmmaker Michael John Sosewski explains that queer comedy has long been about more than just making people laugh. For many LGBTQ+ people, humor served as a survival tool, a way to process pain, challenge social norms, and create connection in environments that often felt hostile or unsafe. Historically, queer people have often used humor as a coping mechanism. Long before widespread representation existed, comedy created opportunities to express identity, build community, and reclaim narratives that society tried to shame or silence. Jokes, satire, and camp became ways of finding joy and resilience even during difficult periods of LGBTQ+ history. Comedy also creates a unique kind of accessibility. Humor can open conversations that might otherwise feel uncomfortable or confrontational. By making people laugh, queer comedians are often able to challenge stereotypes, expose hypocrisy, and encourage audiences to think differently about gender, sexuality, and identity. That's part of why queer comedy can feel inherently political, even when it isn't explicitly trying to be. Simply existing openly and authentically as an LGBTQ+ comedian has historically pushed back against societal expectations about who gets to take up space, tell stories, and be seen as relatable or funny. The conversation also explores how queer comedy has evolved over time. Earlier generations of LGBTQ+ performers often had to rely heavily on coded humor or stereotypes to navigate mainstream audiences and industry expectations. But as representation has expanded, more queer comedians have been able to tell fuller, more authentic stories that go beyond punchlines, rooted solely in identity. At the same time, there's still tension around representation and audience expectations. Queer comedians often navigate balancing authenticity with the pressure to educate audiences, respond to political discourse, or avoid reinforcing stereotypes. Humor can be liberating, but it can also become complicated when marginalized communities are expected to constantly explain themselves through entertainment. Another important theme is the role comedy plays in community building. Laughter creates connection, and queer spaces built around humor, whether stand-up shows, drag performers, online content, or live events, often become places where LGBTQ+ people can feel seen and understood in ways that extend beyond politics alone. Ultimately, queer comedy matters because it reminds people that LGBTQ+ existence is not defined only by struggle. Queer people experience joy, absurdity, awkwardness, romance, friendship, and everyday life just like anyone else. Humor allows those experiences to be shared in ways that feel human, relatable, and deeply connective. And in many ways, that joy itself becomes a form of resistance. Finding laughter and community in the face of discrimination, stigma, or political attacks is powerful. It reaffirms humanity in spaces that have historically tried to deny it. So if you want to learn more about queer comedy, LGBTQ+ storytelling, and how humor can become a form of activism and connection, check out the podcast episode and blog post linked below. And remember, every day is all we have, so you gotta make your own happiness.